It was 2:30 in the morning when my phone lit up on the nightstand. At first, I thought it was just another late-night notification in email, a random news update, something unimportant that could wait until daylight. But when I saw who the message was from, my half-asleep haze vanished instantly. My heart pounded before I even unlocked the screen, as if my body already knew what my mind was about to read. "I'm at his house. Come pick me up or we're done." For a moment, I thought I was still dreaming. The words didn't register at first. My eyes traced them again and again, but no matter how many times I reread that line, it didn't change. She wasn't out with friends. She wasn't stuck at work. She wasn't stranded somewhere safe but inconvenient. She was at his house, another man's house. And at 2:30 in the morning, she wanted me to pick her up, as if I were some kind of chauffeur for her affair. The pit in my stomach twisted into something hot, something burning. I'd suspected for a while those late nights, the sudden distance, the way she snapped at me over the smallest things. But suspicion and proof are two very different beasts. And now, with a single careless text, she had handed me the truth. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. My mind was split in two, one part screaming in agony, begging me to confront her, demand answers, force her to explain, the other part cold, detached, telling me to think carefully, to not waste this opportunity. For once, she had left no room for doubt. She had admitted everything without even realizing it. I typed only 4 words in reply. "We're done then." Simple. Final. Cold. I didn't wait for her response. Instead, I pulled up her location, something I hadn't done in months. The little blinking dot glowed on the map, right where I knew it would be. Right where she said she was. Right at his house. My jaw clenched so tightly that it ached. I took a screenshot, the evidence crisp and undeniable, and my mind immediately leapt to the one person who deserved to see it even more than I did. His wife. The one carrying his child. For a long moment, I just sat there in the darkness of my room, the glow of the screen casting pale light across the sheets. My pulse thundered in my ears, and every breath felt heavier than the last. I had a choice: pretend this hadn't happened, swallow the betrayal, and let her slither back into our bed as if nothing was wrong, or burn everything down. Not just for her, but for him too. For once, they wouldn't get to hide behind their lies. I hit share. Sent the screenshot to her. No explanation, no preamble. Just the proof. The silence afterward was deafening. My phone buzzed almost immediately, but I didn't check it. I didn't need to. I knew the storm I had just unleashed. Somewhere across town, 2 people's lives were about to implode. And mine? Mine was already cracked wide open, but for the first time in a long time, I felt strangely powerful. The night stretched on endlessly after that. I lay back down, staring at the ceiling, every tick of the clock like a hammer against my chest. My thoughts spiral memories of how we'd gotten here, the good days that had blinded me to the rot beneath. I thought of the vows we had made, promises whispered in moments of trust, and how easily she had thrown them away. But under all the hurt, beneath the searing betrayal, there was something else simmering. Anticipation. I wasn't just a victim anymore. I had turned the tables. And by sunrise she would know it. That was the beginning, the moment everything shifted. Looking back now, I realized that text at 2:30 a.m. wasn't just the end of my marriage. It was the start of my revenge, the kind that doesn't come from screaming matches or thrown plates, but from cold precision. From letting the truth speak louder than any excuse she could ever make. She thought she was in control. She thought I'd come running. She thought she still had the power. But she had no idea what was waiting for her when the sun came up. The glow of my phone was the only light in the room as I sat frozen, staring at the blinking cursor. My chest felt tight, every inhale sharp and shallow, like my body was bracing itself for a blow that had already landed. I thought about all the nights I had spent lying awake, waiting for her to come home, convincing myself she was just working late or out with friends. Every excuse I had swallowed now turned bitter in my throat. This was no accident. No misunderstanding. She had chosen him. chosen to betray me in the most brazen, humiliating way possible. And yet, even in that moment, she still expected me to come rescue her like I was still the loyal husband she could rely on, even after spitting on everything we built. I opened the message thread with her one last time. The 4 words I had sent stared back at me. We're done then. My finger hovered over the chat, itching to block her, to shut the door completely. But a darker thought gripped me. Blocking her would give her too easy of an escape. No, she needed to feel it. She needed to sit in the silence, to realize that for the first time, I wasn't coming to her rescue. My phone buzzed. Her reply came quick, frantic, a flood of half-sentences and excuses that I didn't even bother reading. I swiped away the notifications. None of it mattered. Words couldn't unmake the image of her at another man's house in the dead of night. Instead, I opened the photo gallery and looked at the screenshot again, her location, right there in his neighborhood. My hands trembled, not from fear, but from the surge of adrenaline coursing through me. My next move was crystal clear. His wife. She deserved to know. I found her contact info tucked away in an old group chat. We weren't close, but I knew enough. I knew she was pregnant. I knew she believed she had a partner she could trust. And I knew that by keeping silent, I'd become complicit in their lies. My thumb hovered over the screen as 100 thoughts crashed in my mind. What if she didn't believe me? What if she thought I was making it up out of spite? But none of those doubts mattered, because the truth was right there in the screenshot. It spoke louder than any explanation I could give. So I did it. I hit send. Seconds ticked by. My heart thundered in my chest as if I had just lit a fuse and was waiting for the explosion. Then my phone buzzed again, this time, not from my wife, but from her. His wife. Is this real? Just 3 words, filled with the kind of pain I knew too well. I didn't hesitate. Yes. She texted me at 2:30 asking to be picked up. That's where she is. There was no reply. Just silence. And in that silence, I imagined the storm brewing in her house. I imagined the confrontation, the shouting, the unraveling of lies. I pictured him standing there, caught between 2 women, both of whom he had betrayed in different ways. For the first time all night, I felt something other than anger. I felt calm. Because I knew the truth was no longer mine to carry alone. I set the phone down and lay back against the pillow, staring at the ceiling. My body was buzzing, restless, but my mind was sharper than it had been in months. I had taken the first step. And by sunrise, the fallout would begin. I didn't need to wonder what kind of chaos would unfold in that house tonight. I didn't need to wonder how long it would take before she came crawling back, begging for a place to stay. All I had to do was wait. The hours between that text and dawn stretched on endlessly. I couldn't sleep, not with the knowledge of what I had just set into motion. My phone buzzed over and over on the nightstand, vibrating so violently that it nearly slid off the wood. Every message was from her, pleading, demanding, bargaining. Please, just come get me. It's not what you think. If you love me, you'll come. Each new message only fueled my resolve. She still thought she could twist the story, bend reality until I doubted myself. But the truth was already out in the open. I had sent the evidence to the one person she couldn't manipulate, his wife. And I knew the confrontation that followed would tear their pretty little web of lies apart. Around 4 a.m., the tone of her messages shifted. No more half-baked excuses. No more attempts at guilt. Her words turned sharp, panicked. Why did you do this? You don't understand what you've done. She wasn't supposed to know yet. Those words cut deeper than she realized. She wasn't supposed to know yet. The casual cruelty of it made my stomach churn. She and him had a plan. They were stringing both of us along, waiting for the right moment to reveal their betrayal on their terms. And I had ruined it for them. Good. By 5 a.m., the silence returned. No more buzzing. No more desperate texts. The calm before the storm. I imagined the chaos that must have erupted in that other house, the shouting, the tears, the accusations. Him, trying to spin lies while his pregnant wife held proof in her hands. Her, standing there humiliated, exposed, stripped of all the power she thought she had. I almost felt pity. Almost. The sun broke through my curtains just as my phone lit up again. This time, the message wasn't frantic or angry. It was something else entirely. I need somewhere to stay. Reading it, I laughed a hollow, bitter laugh that echoed in the stillness of the room. She had gone from demands to desperation in a matter of hours. She wanted me to open the door, to let her back into the life she had set on fire. But the image of her words from earlier, "I'm at his house. Come pick me up or we're done," flashed in my mind. She had already ended things. She just didn't know it yet. I put the phone down and made coffee instead, the rich aroma filling the kitchen while her world crumbled. The bitterness of the brew tasted sharper than usual, but it steadied me. Each sip reminded me that I had finally taken control. For once, I wasn't reacting to her games. I was writing the ending myself. And this was only the beginning of her downfall. By sunrise, the mask had completely fallen off. The steady vibration of my phone returned, but this time it wasn't just texts. It was calls one after another, relentless, as though sheer persistence might wear me down. I let them ring out, watching her name flash across the screen until voicemail picked up, only for the cycle to start again. Finally, curiosity got the better of me. I played the first voicemail. Her voice was broken, frantic. "Please, just talk to me. I don't have anywhere to go. You don't understand, it's not what it looks like. He's not who I thought he was. Please, I need you." Not what it looks like. The oldest excuse in the book. If it weren't so pathetic, I might have laughed. She wasn't pleading for forgiveness, she was begging for shelter. The man she thought would protect her had tossed her aside the second his wife found out. Suddenly, she was left stranded, unwanted in both houses. And now she was crawling back to me. I didn't answer. Not yet. I wanted her to feel the weight of the silence, the same silence she had left me in night after night when she chose someone else over me. A few hours later, there was a knock at my door. Sharp. Desperate. I knew who it was before I even looked through the peephole. There she stood, makeup smudged, hair tangled, clutching her phone like it was the last thing tethering her to reality. Her eyes darted around nervously, as though the world itself were hunting her. "Please," she whispered the second she saw me. No anger now, no attitude, none of the bravado she used to throw in my face. Just desperation. I didn't open the door. I stood behind it, close enough for her to know I was there, far enough to keep the barrier intact. "You told me yourself," I said through the wood. "We're done." There was a pause, then the sound of her breaking. "I didn't mean it like that." I was scared. I didn't know what else to say. "Please, I have nowhere else to go." Her words hit me, but not in the way she intended. Once, I might have believed her. Once, I might have opened the door, pulled her inside, held her while she cried, and told her everything would be okay. But those days were gone. I thought of the vows she had shattered, the lies she had spun, the way she had weaponized my loyalty against me. I thought of the pregnant woman across town who was probably sitting in her own wreckage, wondering how the man she trusted could betray her so deeply. And then I thought of the text that had started it all. "Come pick me up or we're done." "You made your choice," I said. My voice was steady, even though my chest was tight. "Now live with it." There was a long silence. Then came the sound of her sobbing, muffled but raw. For a moment, I almost caved. But then I reminded myself this wasn't about cruelty. This was about justice. About finally standing firm when she expected me to bend. Eventually, the knocking stopped. The footsteps faded. The street grew quiet again. I stood there for a long time, my hands still resting on the doorknob, my heart pounding like I had just run a marathon. Letting her walk away wasn't easy. But it was necessary. And as I turned back into the house, the weight on my shoulders felt just a little lighter. Because for the first time in years, I wasn't living in her shadow. I wasn't defined by her choices. I was free. The silence after she left was deafening, yet strangely peaceful. I leaned against the door, letting the quiet settle over me like a blanket. For the first time in years, I wasn't consumed by her chaos. There was no waiting for her to come home, no endless guessing about where she was, no pretending that the cracks in our life were just stress or bad timing. The truth was out, and with it came a freedom I hadn't realized I craved. As I walked back into the living room, the weight I had been carrying for so long began to lift. The house felt different now. Empty, yes, but not lonely. It was as if the walls themselves had exhaled, no longer forced to contain the lies, the tension, the betrayal. For once, the quiet didn't feel suffocating, it felt cleansing. I sat with my coffee, staring at the morning light spilling through the blinds, and my mind wandered back through the years. To the beginning, when everything felt effortless. When her laugh was the best sound in the world and I thought we were untouchable. To the promises we had whispered late at night, convinced nothing could break us. And then, slowly, to the cracks that had formed. The excuses? The distance? The moments where I told myself love was supposed to endure hardship, even when deep down I knew I was being played for a fool. I realized then that I had been clinging to the idea of her, not the reality. The woman who stood crying outside my door wasn't the same person I had fallen in love with. Maybe she never was. Maybe I had just been too blind to see the difference. My phone buzzed again, pulling me out of my thoughts. Another message from her. Please, I'll do anything. Just don't give up on us. I didn't even open it. I deleted the entire thread, wiped her voice from my screen, and blocked her number. For once, the power wasn't in her hands. It was in mine. The rest of the day moved slowly, but it was different. I wasn't drowning in pain anymore, I was surfacing. I went for a walk, breathing in the crisp morning air, and felt more alive than I had in months. Every step was a reminder that I wasn't chained to her decisions anymore. That I wasn't defined by her betrayal. I thought about the woman across town, the one who had received my screenshot. I imagined her sitting in her kitchen, maybe with a hand resting on her pregnant belly, finally seeing the truth she deserved to know. I hoped, in some small way, that giving her the evidence had saved her from wasting years like I had. That maybe, just maybe, she would take her own freedom back too. That night, as I crawled into bed alone, I expected the emptiness to hurt. But it didn't. It felt right. Like the first clean breath after a storm. I didn't need her beside me anymore. I didn't need the constant lies disguised as love. I needed me. The betrayal still stung, of course. It would for a while. But it no longer owned me. I had taken back my dignity, my self-respect, and my future. And in that moment, lying in the quiet of my own room, I made myself a promise. Never again would I let someone treat me like an option. Never again would I ignore the red flags just to keep a broken dream alive. She had chosen her path. And I had chosen mine. And for the first time in years, I was finally free.